war of words between Jason Kenney and the leader of the Bloc Quebecois. Yves-Francois Blanchet met with the Prime Minister on Wednesday in Ottawa, where he said his party would not support Alberta if the province continues to rely on oil and gas. Kenney says Blanchet's comments are ironic, given that just 1 week ago, Quebec tabled a budget with a $4 billion surplus after receiving a $13 billion equalization payment.
To Mr. Blanchet, to the Parti Québécois, if you are so opposed to the energy that we produced in Alberta, then why are you so keen on taking the money generated by the oil field workers in this province and across Western Canada? You cannot have your cake and eat it too. Pick a lane.
If they were attempting to create a green state in Western Canada, I might be tempted to help them. If they are trying to create an oil state in Western Canada, they cannot expect any help from us.
Kenney says Alberta has contributed $600 billion to equalization since 1960. Danielle Smith from 770 CHQR joins us this morning to continue this conversation. Danielle, Blanchet fired back after that, saying the comments about Quebec getting an unfair share of national funds are untrue.
They are absolutely true, and I looked them up yesterday just to make sure that I knew what the numbers were. Quebec pays about $60 billion in federal taxes, and they get back $73 billion worth of spending. That means that $13 billion has to come from somewhere else, and guess where it comes from? Alberta pays about $50 billion in taxes, and we only get about $28 billion worth of federal spending. It's essentially taking dollars directly out of Albertans' pockets, just as Jason Kenney said, Alberta energy workers' pockets, putting it into a holding tank in Ottawa, only to be distributed to Quebec. It's almost like a straight line transfer. And to suggest somehow that you're going to be able to continue to see the system continue this way while killing Alberta's economy, principally reliant on energy, it shows that somebody's delusional. And I'm glad that Jason Kenney called him out for that. I think Yves-Francois Blanchet is acting as if he's the Prime Minister. He's acting as if his opinion matters. He's acting as if he's going to, give us advice in Alberta. We don't want the advice of a separatist. We understand completely. He doesn't care about any other province except for his own. He's made that abundantly clear. And so the question is, now that we know that, how are we going to respond to it? And I think Jason Kenney responded very well to it yesterday. Pick a lane, can't have it both ways. And we really need to push forward on an equalization referendum sooner rather than later.
So let's talk about Alberta's oil and gas industry then. It has been striving towards more clean energy. That message doesn't seem to be getting through, perhaps because at the end of the day, it is the oil and gas industry. Does this industry need better PR? What's going on?
Well, if you're going to say that under no circumstances should anyone ever use fossil fuels or take any extract any fossil fuels from the ground, you're never going to find common ground with a person like that. The place we find common ground is natural gas. It is abundantly clear, I think even to Justin Trudeau and his Environment Minister, Catherine McKenna, that if you take clean LNG from some of the best plants in the world, and if you look at the reports, our LNG facilities are going to have some of the lowest environmental footprints, and then use that to displace coal in China and India, you are going to reduce greenhouse gas emissions around the world. If this is truly a global problem and requiring global solutions, Canada's natural gas is part of that global solution. So that's the message that Jason Kenney needs to be pressing with the Prime Minister. I doubt very much he'll be able to convince people like Blanchet, but that's not who he needs to convince. He needs to convince, I think, reasonable-minded people who understand that you can develop your economy, have a growing economy, and still address some of the issues of the impact on the environment, including greenhouse gas emissions.
And Danielle Smith will be talking more about this one on her show starting at 9:30 on 770 CHQR. Thanks, Danielle.
Thanks.